Ramayana chapter 24. Bharat arrives. Kausalya clung to the king's body and cried, I shall go with the king to Yama's abode. How can I live without my son and without my husband? The elders and officers of the palace managed to separate her from the dead king and take her away. Then they discussed about the funeral rites. They could not be performed immediately, for Ram and Lakshman had gone to the forest, and Bharat and Shatrugana were far away from the uncle's place. It was decided to send for Bharata and to keep the body immersed in oil till his arrival. The great monarch's remains were thus kept in waiting for Bharata's arrival. Ayodhya, the city of splendor, was sunk in darkness and lamentation. Crowds of women met here and there and reviled Kaikeyi. There was anxiety in the men's hearts. The crown prince had gone to the forest. The Bharata, too, was far away. Anarchy was feared, for no one in those days could imagine a people going on without a king. After the long night had passed, the ministers, officers, and elders assembled in the hall in the morning. Markandeya, Vamadeya, Kashyapa, Katyayana, Gautama, Jabali, and other learned men, with Sumantra, and the other ministers bowed to Vasishtha and said, Sir, the night we have passed was like a century. The king is no more. Ram and Lakshman are in the forest. Bharat and Shatrugana are far away in Kakaya in the grandfather's house. Someone must forthwith be asked to take up the responsibility of rule. A land without a king cannot survive. Order will disappear. Son will not obey father, nor wife her husband. The reins will hold back. Thieves and robbers will range at will. There'll be no mutual trust among people. Neither agriculture nor trade can flourish. Without a king, the land must lose its prosperity. The springs of charity will dry up. Festivals and services will cease to be performed in temples. There will be no expounding of shastras or epics, nor any listeners. People will no more sleep with doors open. Culture will decline and soon disappear. Penances, vows, enjoyments, learning, all depend on the king's protection. The beauty of woman will vanish. The sense of security will be lost. Men will eat one another as fish do. Cruelty and misery will grow apace and lay waste the land. For good to prosper and evil to be restrained, a king is essential. Thus, Valmiki describes at length the dangers of anarchy through the mouths of the leaders in that assembly. It looks as if a great darkness has enveloped the land, they said. Dharma is in danger. Let us forthwith secure a king. Vasishtha sent for tried messengers and said to them, Start at once. Go straight and swift to Kakaya. See that you wear no sign of sorrow on your face or show it in your behavior. Bharat should not know that the king is dead. Tell him simply that the family, preceptor, and ministers want his presence at once in Ayodhya and bring him along with you with all the speed you may. Tell him nothing about Ram and Sita going to the forest or the king's death on account of grief. To avoid all suspicion, take with you the usual gifts of jewels and precious garments for a presentation to the king of Kakaya. From there, we can understand the meaning of what the Shastras and Kural say about the truth. Truthfulness should be such that it needlessly hurts no being in the world. The test for right conduct, including truthfulness, is harmlessness. The test for right conduct, including truthfulness, is harmlessness. This does not mean that the truth is underrated. Soon the messengers were provisioned and equipped for the long journey and finished with gifts of honor. Mounted on swift and sturdy horses, they sped past rivers and forests, up hill and down dale, and reached Kakaya, which was somewhere to the west of the modern Punjab, and found themselves in Rajagriha, its capital, where the Ishwaku princes were residing. in the palace of their maternal uncle. They decided to wait on the princess the next morning. The night the messengers arrived, Bharat had evil dreams and woke up in the morning filled with anxiety as to what they might portend. His face showed the state of mind. His companions tried to entertain him with dance and mirth to make him forget his cares, but did not succeed. We still do not know all the secrets of nature and the telepathy of affection. Maybe Dasarata's mental anguish and death throes reach Bharat across space and causes bad dreams. He said to himself, "It seems to me that death is approaching my brother, Ram or Lakshman or myself. They say that an early morning dream does not fail to be fulfilled, and mine has been a terrible dream. I am full of fear. I know not what to do." Just then the messengers were announced. The king of Kakaya and his son Yudhajit received their envoys with due courtesy. They paid their respects to the king and the princess, then turned to Bharata and said, "The priests and ministers send you their blessings and request you to return at once to Ayodhya. They want us to convey to you that the need for your presence there is most urgent. Please touch for acceptance these garments and jewels to be given to your uncle and to the king as gifts from the palace of Ayodhya." Bharat questioned the messengers after the welfare of all at home. The manner of his inquiry suggested he had an uneasy premonition that his mother's headstrong and ambitious nature might have had something to do with this hasty summons home. "And is my mother, the haughty and irascible Queen Keikei, who believes herself all wise and must always have her way, is she in good health?" The messengers must have been at their wits' end for an answer. The best they could make was, "O tiger among men, all are well whose welfare is dear to you. Lakshmi, the goddess of sovereignty, whose abode is the lotus, woos you. Get your chariot without loss of time." There was an enigmatic thought in this greeting, for according to them, Bharata was to be installed on the throne. The prince took leave of his uncle and grandfather for returning home, and preparations were made for his departure. The old king and Yudhajit collected rare and valuable things for their country to be sent as gifts to King Dasarata and Prince Ram of Ayodhya. Bharat and Shatrugana mounted the chariots and started with a big retinue towards Ayodhya. They traveled fast, unmindful of fatigue, and by forced marches reached Ayodhya on the morning of the 8th day. As he approached the city, Bharat's mind was filled with misgiving. Nothing seemed to be as it was before, and the air seemed heavy with disaster. He asked the charioteer, "Why does the city wear such a strange look? I do not see the usual crowds of people going in and coming out in the gardens outside the city. One used to see young men and women with bright, cheerful faces, but now they all seem sad." Bharat's chariot entered the city through the Victory Gate. The streets, houses, and temples were bare and unadorned. The faces of the people looked drawn and famished. "Why are all the musical instruments silent?" he asked. "Why are the citizens not decked with flowers and sandal paste? These are all bad signs. I cannot repress my anxiety." Inauspicious omens were seen everywhere. Bharat concluded that some great misfortune had overtaken the city, and that was the reason why he had been so hastily sent for. He entered Dasarata's palace. The king was not to be seen. His anxiety increased. He then entered Keikei's palace. When she saw her son after a long absence, she jumped from her golden couch to embrace him. He bent down and touched her feet. She kissed his head and welcomed him with maternal blessings. "Did you have a good journey?" she asked. "Are your uncle and grandfather well? Tell me all about them." He answered, "The journey took 7 days. All our people at Kakaya are happy and well. Grandfather and uncle send you their love. They have sent rich gifts for you, but these will arrive later. I have come in advance. The envoys hurried me, saying there's a great, urgent work demanding my presence here. What is it all about? I went to the king's palace to pay him my respects. He was not to be found there, and here too his couch is empty. Perhaps he is with one of my senior mothers. I must go and see him and tender my respects. When Bharat, innocent of heart and unaware of what happened, said this, the foolish queen, intoxicated with a new sense of power, answered, My child, your father has had his full share of blessings of this life. His fame was great. He performed all the sacrifices enjoined by tradition. He was a refuge for the good. He has now entered the high world and joined the gods. On hearing this, Bharata fell down, uttering a cry. His long arms stretched out on the ground. Rising, he looked at his father's empty bed and sobbed like a destitute orphan. The mighty hero threw his godlike frame on the earth and wept like a child in uncontrolled grief. Looking at his son, who lay on the ground like a big tree fallen to the axe, KK said, Arise, O king, stand up. It is not right for a king thus to mourn and roll on the ground. Honor and glory are waiting for your acceptance. You are to uphold the Dharma and perform sacrifices in the way of your royal fathers. Your intelligence shines like the noonday sun. No misfortune dare come near you. Son, strong of limb and brave-hearted, stand up. Bharata's mind was immaculately spotless. He did not see all that KK had put in her appeal. After lamenting long, he got up and said, When I went to my uncle's house, I had hoped that Ram's installation as your Raja would come off soon, and that on my return I would see the great festive ceremonies. How differently have things turned out. How am I to bear this calamity? No more shall I see my father's face. What did he die of? How did he get the illness? I was not by his side when he lay sick. It was given to Ram to tend to him in his last moments. How affectionate the king was towards me. If some dust settled on my body, he would wipe it with his hand. And how soft and pleasing was his touch. And it was not given to me to serve him in his need. But mother, where is Ram? Hereafter he is both father and preceptor to me. I must see him at once and kiss his feet. He is now my sole refuge. What was my father's last message to me? I want his very words. KK's answer had to be consistent both with truth and her designs. She was pulled in contrary directions by her culture and ambition. She found words which conveyed that the king did not think of Bharat in his last moments. She also wished to prepare him for the rest of the news. She said, Your father breathed his last crying, Ha, Ram, Ha, Lakshman, Ha, Janaki. These were his last words. He died saying, It is not given to me to live to see Ram, Lakshman, and Sita return. Happy they who will see their return. Listening to this, Bharat gathered that Ram and Lakshman too were absent from the king's side. His grief increased, and he asked KK, Where were they? What business took them away from our father's side during his last moments? Hoping to pacify him, KK said, My son Ram put on the garments of an ascetic and taking Lakshman and Sita with him, went to the Dandaka forest. Bharat's amazement now knew no bounds. He asked, I understand nothing of what you're saying. What sin did Ram commit that he should undertake such expiation? Did he rob any Brahmana or cause bodily hurt to any innocent person or desire someone else's wife? Why did he have to go to the forest? Who laid on him this penance? In those days, people went of their own will or were sent to the forest as purifying punishment for such and other heinous crimes. Now KK, shaken out of silence by this tempest of questions, came out with the truth, foolishly hoping for the best. Ram committed no crime. He neither robbed nor harmed anyone, and it was not in Ram's nature to cast eyes of desire at other people's wives. What happened was, seeing that preparations were afoot for installing him as crown prince and regent, I approached the king for your sake and secured the fulfillment of 2 boons he had long ago granted to me. I asked that the kingdom should go to you and that Ram should be exiled to the forest. Bound by his past promise, the king agreed. Ram has therefore gone to the forest with Sita and Lakshman. Unable to hear the separation, your father expired of grief. Do not waste yourself in vain lamentations now. Think now what you should do. You know Dharma. Your duty is to accept the burden of kingship. I did all of this for your sake, and you should accept the fruit of my action in the spirit in which I acted. The city and kingdom have come into your possession without your wanting or working for it. Following the injunctions of Vasishtha and other learned men, perform duly your father's obsequies, and then prepare for the coronation. You are a Kshatriya. You have inherited your father's kingdom. Attend to what has fallen to you as your duty.